out of my morning walk. You just never know what you're gonna find in these neighborhoods. Little did I know I'd be walking home with a 12-foot piece of native bamboo. Nice lady was throwing it out. She was cutting down a whole bunch of her bamboo and trimming it back, and then I've just never seen a piece this large, this thick of diameter, 12 feet. What am I gonna do with it? I don't have any idea, but something creative will come about, whether it's a barbell or decorative artifact, a survival staff if the ground opens up for another earthquake this morning, and this lays across and holds me as I hang from it and climb and survive, and that's why I grabbed it. Or California breaks off into the ocean, fingers crossed. And it, hey guys, serves as a makeshift xylophone to entertain myself and whomever survives, is able to survive on an island. You're gonna need music, proven by Gilligan's Island and Lost. Or to beat off, what? To batter, bruise, and maim any doctors or coaches that want to come by or try to pitch to me 5D is better than 3D ascension, consciousness, health, products. Body only heals except for, or anything else in the scroll of scripts that they're fed. No, but the point of this whole thing that came to me was back in the day when I've been evolving and testing everything over 25 years and punching holes in everything, and why leaving a lot behind, because it's no longer serves. And when you leave it behind, you're not moving on to the next thing. So you had electrical stim devices. Then what'd you do? Well, you ditch them, you leave them, and you improve to an even more simplified version. It's not the next electrical stim device or the next supplement. That's the thing with that type of approach. If any of it worked truly to the source, you wouldn't need another. You wouldn't need another degree. You wouldn't need another technique. You wouldn't need another supplement to throw at another level of lab, this, that, and the other. So as I've adapted and evolved, back when I did have an office, and the office here in California was unlike any other office anybody had seen. People who visited, including the people who just stole a bunch of shit when they were in there and just copied and pasted, would agree that the way the office was run and the way the setup was, it was just a completely different animal all on its own. But one of the things that I did back then was test people when they came in. I would test their strength, mentally, emotionally, intellectually, with a number of things, not just the stuff that was published, but again, I published in 2018, and the trial test I had in the book, that's why I had to update it. In no way would I ever use that now. But that's why part of the trouble I didn't understand with publishing with something as dynamic as the human being, that words would be frozen in time, ideas and principles and applications would be frozen in a 2018 publication, that you're anticipating humanity is going to take it and evolve forward, as are you, but you don't anticipate that your words, your version is going to get stuck in that time. That's why I had to do those 2 Zoom follow-ups to cover page by page what has evolved, changed, and improved upon, and left behind, not just leaving licensing degrees or closing an office, but bigger than that. But one of the things back then I would test your strength, as I said, with a number of things that people would have seen or published, and a lot of things that weren't. And the people who would blow my tests out of the water, leading me to test further levels and further depths, which was rare. You rarely get to these levels, but the people that would just absolutely destroy them. And they could have symptoms, they could have injuries, they could have chronic stuff. They weren't always young, they weren't always old, they weren't always men, they weren't always women, it was everybody. But the people that destroyed my tests to all levels were the people that were most creative in their applications of anything. They were most creative specifically around training. They never trained in a facility. They never trained with a group. They never parroted a group. They never tried to keep up with a group. They never trained with a specialist week to week. They never got programs. They never got plans. And it was just, damn. And you saw this, 15, 20 years ago. It was the people that were the most creative and independent in their application of it, which is usually what creativity requires, is a soul, you with you. They would destroy it. And so there is this element in our applications of what we do within our lives where creativity, I go over this in documents and videos and in one-on-ones. No more testing people ever. Hey, but the creativity aspect has to be applied, because if you think about it, your creative nature is your most authentic component to you. It's the part nobody can repeat, including you. Your creativity today is not what it is tomorrow or in 5 minutes. Your symptoms and injuries, the way they pattern, the way they express, the way they show, that's very creative. It's a creative aspect that your body is using for then you to use more creativity within it. But today, as you know, and as I'm speaking loudly in opposition to, by just stating what always works, and then you connecting the dots that if this always works, then that can't. And what's that? Exercise programs, diets, groups, classes, facilities, protocols, rehab protocols, algorithms, and then you can extend it to the tests of everything, where it's lumping everybody to a standard determined by not you. What is that? Biomarkers, lab markers, blood work, vitals, everything. Everything being compared to, when you hear it with hormones going haywire. How do you know what haywire is? What does that even mean? Oh, they're not the same as when you feel awesome, or they're not the same as everybody else's. But haywire would mean there's no reason, there's no response, there's no sense to it. And then you go in and just ask somebody about their life. Wow, the body used everything in the blood perfectly to respond to the entirety of your life. Wow, that's the furthest thing from haywire. You may not like what it feels like, but it's the furthest thing from being haywire or all over the place or boom, boom, boom. That would be like rolling an ankle, looking at the swelling and going, oh my God, that's haywire. Or pull fluids from the ankle and measure all the components to it. Oh my God, look at all the fluids and bloods and lymph. That's haywire. Getting back to it though, the more creative you can be, the better. And this is part of the casework that I get into, regardless of what somebody's concerns are. There has to be an element of creativity, even if it's creating a plate, even if your only foods that you can digest because your digestive system is crawling while you learn a whole lot about your life. Creative with fruit, creative with ingredients, creative in your social and physical hobbies and habits, and how you even create a garden or create a bedroom, create a sleep environment, create a lighting, create a poem, create a painting, create a bathroom routine, create, again, a training routine, which has to be every single day, whether you're in a hospital, on a couch, or top of a mountain, or walking Neptune, taking a 12-foot piece of bamboo, trying to let your creative brain freak the fuck out and see what I can do with this. But again, 25 years, observation, the people that on their own, the starting point of on their own, and then you just applying some of these things, hey, and then being able to apply, it's just leaps forward, even when they're slightly stepping forward. The people that bloomed before learning anything, before acquiring anything as to why they were asking for your guidance and help, were the people that were on their own, had to create for themselves, had to come up with their own. And so we don't like that because it's a very lonely, scary, as I've been posting about art, you are standing next to your results. There's nobody else to go, well, he did this to me, she did this to me, it's my kids, it's my genetic methylation, it's my parents, it's my... No, it's you with you. That's why I said fault, blame, accountability, responsibility, ownership are powers, not flaws. So what am I going to do with this 12-foot piece of bamboo? I don't know. I got a dream. See what she's talking to me. First, I got to clean her up. Clean up some of these pieces. Although it makes a good coffee mug hanger. We shall see.